What brought me to B'nai B'rith was the fact, I guess, that my parents were members of B'nai B'rith, and they joined in 1945. They were the second intake of members into the organisation in Australia. And as I grew up, a B'nai B'rith group started, a youth group started on the North Shore. And that seemed to be a very pleasant place to be. There were a lot of my friends involved, and I had a lot of time for what B'nai B'rith stood for, going back even that time when I was a teenager. B'nai B'rith stands for values that meant a lot to me in those early years and still mean a lot to me. Bringing people together from all strands of Judaism, regardless of a stream of religious beliefs, regardless of background. And I found that even as a young kid in the B'nai B'rith youth group, I was mixing with people from a whole range of different backgrounds and different ideas, and that was very, very stimulating. It was very different from the traditional sort of synagogue youth organisation or Zionist organisation. So I found that it was a stimulating area to be in, and I enjoyed my time in B'nai B'rith Youth, and it was through my time in B'nai B'rith Youth, when I went to a camp, that I met my wife Elaine, and we got married. B'nai B'rith fulfilled its mission, and I left the organisation, only to return some 20 years later. The reason I came back to B'nai B'rith, and this was now in the mid-80s, was that a new group started up on the North Shore of Sydney, and a whole lot of people came together that had been friends of ours for many years and formed the nucleus of this new North Shore unit. And so it was again a group of people that we knew well, and it was an opportunity once again to come back and identify once more with the values and the ideas that had made B'nai B'rith so impressive to me when I was a kid. It seemed to be much more interesting to get involved in the issues that were being dealt with at the peak level, dealing with issues to do with human rights and the organisation of the B'nai B'rith group. And I gravitated towards positions, first of all on the New South Wales Council and then on the district. And my professional background being in the financial field, I held the position of treasurer on the council, and then I helped the district treasurer out for a while and got to know what happens in the organisation. And that sort of gave me a taste of working at the higher level of B'nai B'rith. In the year 2000, Sydney had held a district presidency for the past 3 years, and it was Melbourne's turn. And I had the amazing chutzpah to stand as a candidate against a Melbourne candidate. Of course I lost, but having lost gave me the opportunity and the incentive to stand again. And in 2002 I was elected unopposed as district president for a 2-year term, and then served another 2-year term in finishing off in 2006. And for me that was a very, very rewarding period. And what we have now is an organisation which looks to represent interests of Jewish people here in Australia, in New Zealand and across the world in a public way, so that people understand what we're on about, understand where interests of Jewish people are imperilled and how they are best addressed. So there become issues of legislation at government level, there become issues of community harmony or the lack of, and how we address those particular issues. And so we have representations in many community organisations, and we work with other organisations to promote the interests of Jewish people and more generally to counter prejudice, discrimination. And we've developed outreach programs such as Courage to Care, programs such as the poster competition, the work that we do in a whole range of areas on social justice, emphasises B'nai B'rith's interest in reaching out to the wider world and saying we've got something to help an understanding between communities, countering discrimination and healing the world. Tikkun Olam.